In late 1965, Walt Disney himself handed plans over to the government for what he believed would be the next major expansion for Walt Disney Productions, a ski resort just north of Porterville, California. Let's dig into the history behind Disney's Mineral King Ski Resort and why it was never built. Walt always had a love of winter sports, even investing in a ski resort founded by his friend Hans Schroll in 1939. This partnership and his love of winter sports would extend throughout the rest of his life. In 1959, Walt Disney Productions released a film titled Third Man on the Mountain, which was shot in Switzerland and even featured Hans Schroll. During the production of this film, Walt fell in love with the Swiss Alps, a love that would shape the future of the company in many ways. Around the time of the release of the film, Walt Disney was asked to produce the opening and closing ceremonies of the 1960 Winter Olympics in Squaw Valley, California. Shortly afterward, Walt started to execute his idea of building a Disney-branded ski resort and started surveying potential sites in California and Colorado. He ended up falling in love with Mineral King Valley, just north of Porterville, California in Sequoia National Park. He later said, "When I first saw Mineral King 5 years ago, I thought it was one of the most beautiful spots I had ever seen, and we want to keep it that way." This attitude was the foundation for the valley's development, to keep its natural beauty intact while creating a world-class resort destination. Walt personally submitted his proposal to the U.S. Forest Service in late 1965. It called for an isolated alpine-like town with no automobiles. Visitors would park in a huge futuristic parking garage that would be constructed to fit with the terrain, hiding it from view. Once they parked, visitors would take a transportation system from the garage to the town, completely isolating them from the outside world. The town would have been host to an ice skating rink, several shops, a golf course, 2 large hotels, 10 restaurants, and 14 ski lifts. The service areas for the resort would be kept underground, and the entire village would be invisible from the entrance to the valley. The town would have also played host to what is now a classic Disney attraction, Country Bear Jamboree. The entire resort was originally planned to handle 8,500 visitors daily and would have cost $35 million, more than 11 times the budget that the Forest Service had originally requested. Out of 6 submitted, the Forest Service approved Disney's proposal and awarded them a 3-year permit to develop a master plan. The approval of that master plan would mean a 30-year lease of the land from the Forest Service, but that approval was contingent on the creation of a 25-mile all-weather highway to the valley. Almost exactly a year after turning in his proposal, Walt Disney died on December 15, 1966. This made Mineral King one of the last major Disney projects that Walt was personally involved with, but the project was soon taken over by the Imagineers. The Imagineers submitted their master plan for the resort a few years later, and it was approved in January of 1969. This new plan changed some of Walt's original ideas, but the overall direction remained the same. Mineral King was set to open in winter of 1973, just after the highway's planned completion. Environmental activists led by the Sierra Club became vocally opposed to the project. They argued that the all-weather access road would displace too much soil, and the construction of the highway through Sequoia National Park was illegal. This prevented any construction until the case eventually reached the Supreme Court, who ruled in favor of Disney in 1972. Even though this victory seemingly made it clear for Disney to start construction, they still had to deal with the National Environmental Policy Act. This bill required the Forest Service to prepare a detailed statement on the environmental impact of any proposed actions, including the construction of Disney's highway. Eventually, Disney announced a revision to their master plan, which scaled down the project in 1972 in order to make the plans more financially viable. The new plan for Mineral King was to cost just $15 million and contain a fraction of the original facilities. It also proposed the construction of a cog railway in place of more than half of the original planned highway. Even with the release of this new plan, Disney could not start construction, as the Forest Service was busy preparing their draft of the environmental impact of the shortened highway and cog railway. They finally released the almost 600-page draft in 1976. This was almost 4 years since Disney had released their revised construction plans, and unfortunately, it seemed that they had simply lost interest in the project, as well as being clouded by all of the controversy surrounding their legal battles with the Sierra Club and other environmental conservationists. The final nail in the coffin was the National Parks and Recreation Act of 1978. This bill designated Mineral King as part of Sequoia National Park, preventing any future development of the valley. So, what do you think? Would you have liked to see a Disney ski resort? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe for more episodes of Disney Declassified.